Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Welcome to Denton Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Marisa Abbe, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. My pronouns are she, her. Thank you very much for being with us today, online and in the sanctuary. For those online, please see the comments throughout the service for more information. For those in the sanctuary, please remember to remain 6 feet from others. You can help our tech team by turning off your Wi-Fi. We will keep our masks on, but really don't want you to sing, so be sure to use your noisemakers. And you're invited to stand and dance or sway during the hymns and other music. Newcomers, please complete the visitor information card online or in the seat pocket in front of you so we can connect with you. We are excited to welcome Reverend Erika Forbes today. Reverend Erika is a licensed, ordained interfaith minister and is the Faith and Outreach Manager at Texas Freedom Network with Just Texas. She's a licensed spiritual counselor and maintains a private practice with a focus on reproductive choice, health, and well-being. She is a lead facilitator, moderator, and speaker on subjects that stand at the intersection of emotional and racial justice, interfaith spirituality, and reproductive freedom. So welcome, Reverend Erika. We're so excited that you're here. Please stay after the service here in the sanctuary and online to hear more about the work of Just Texas and opportunities for us to participate. Reverend Erika will offer more information, and there'll be a short Q&A. So that will take place instead of coffee hour for those of you online. So a few events to just briefly mention. This Wednesday at 7 p.m., our weekday worship service returns. Join Reverend AJ on Zoom for a brief worship service and time to connect with others. Reverend AJ is also leading an online class in UU history and faith development Sunday evenings from 7 to 9 in November. Each week is a standalone seminar, and there's no requirement to attend all 4 sessions, but please pre-register for each session. And you can do that by emailing Reverend AJ at minister@dentonuuf.org. The first class is this evening. One last announcement, Sharon Barnhill is hosting a really awesome garage sale benefiting DUUF next Saturday, November 13th from 8 to 4, and the location is going to be 1512 Scripture Street. So we really want you to all go to the garage sale next Saturday. Also, if you have big items, desks, furniture, stuff like that, you can also donate them to the garage sale that we can sell them. So just contact Sharon Barnhill, or you can drop off those items at 1512 Scripture Street. All right, you can learn all about these things, registering kids for classes, attending worship in person, on our newsletter, on social media, and on our linked tree. Finally, thank you for everyone that came to the party yesterday. It was awesome. It was beautiful. We ate a lot of cake, and we're 84% of the way towards our goal for fundraising for next year. So thank you so much. Now let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
Good morning. My name is Sunny Palmer, and my pronouns are she and her. Thank you so much for joining us this morning as we celebrate the end or mourn the end of daylight savings time, depending on your perspective. It's hard to get out of the house this morning or to get to the computer, and we're grateful that you're here. A chalice lit in our midst is a symbol of our liberal faith. A faith built on the foundation of freedom, reason, and tolerance. A faith sustained by acts of kindness and justice. A faith that visions a world that is flourishing with equality for all its people. A faith that demands the living out of goodness. A faith that requires thoughtfulness. A faith of wholeness. This tiny flame is the symbol of that spark of all of that within each of us. Thank you. Although we are not singing at this time, please rise in body or spirit and move to our opening hymn, Come Sing a Song With Me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and the rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and the rose in the winter time. Come walking rain with me. Come rocking rain with me. Come walking rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and the rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and the rose in the winter time.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Erika Forbes, and my pronouns are she and hers. I'm so grateful to be here with you today. I like to begin with our call to worship. It was written by Sharon Wiley. It is said that ministers are here to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. I say we are all afflicted and we are all comfortable. May our time together this morning be a comfort and a confrontation. May we find peace in times of tumult. May we here invite tumult into lives of peace. May we here find calm in times of restlessness. May we here allow restlessness to revolve, or I should say, evolve into action. Let this be the place you consider what you've never considered. Let this be the place you imagine for yourself something new and unthinkable. May this hour bring dreams of new ways of being in the world. Come, let us worship together. and that was written by Sharon Wiley. I'd like to move into a snippet of a message for all ages. So if you are a child and you're viewing this, or you feel like a child inside, this moment is for you. And so I often say, when you want to think about justice, think about balance, think about fairness. And the best way to do that is to put your arms out like this and do this. And when you do that, it doesn't feel quite as right. It doesn't feel balanced. And maybe just for balance's sake, do this. And once again, you don't feel balanced. You don't feel fair. But if you do this, if you stand like this, then you have an idea of what it means to be balanced and to be just. That is the message for all ages. Thank you. Let's take a moment and move into prayer. And for me, prayer is the breath. And I say that prayer is the breath because it brings you into the present moment. You see, you can't breathe in the past, nor can you breathe in the future. You can only breathe in the here and now. I also say that if the only prayer you ever utter is thank you, it will be enough. That is a quote by Minister Eckhart. So our prayer today is to breathe together, consciously and intentionally. And you don't have to worry about breathing forever. You only have to say to yourself, in this moment, I'm going to take these 5 seconds to inhale deeply and to exhale deeply. And these are the only moments that matter. These moments, these 5 seconds where we breathe together, is an invisible but very real reminder that we are here to breathe together, to give life to each other, that we are all breathing the same breath. We're all living one life. So let's begin. Consciously and intentionally, I ask you to inhale deeply and then exhale deeply. And then allow your breath to turn to its natural rhythm, whatever that is for you. And know that you are breathing the universal breath with all of humanity. That is the prayer. Thank you. Today's reading is taken from 101 Quotes That Will Change Your Life, Words to Inspire by Topher Pike. Embrace the warmth of one positive thought to quickly see a light with the power and potential to be illuminated by one simple smile. It might seem like your dreams are taking a while to come to life, but stay the course and continue to smile every day. Control your thoughts the moment you rise and find something in your life that can make you smile immediately. Thank you.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
It's so fitting this morning as I come up to invite you to give to the church and its programs that the children just ran past the windows. You know, we do a lot here to benefit ourselves and to help our own spiritual growth and expression, but we're really here for the next generation and so that those children can know what it is to live in a just and worthy world. Each week we collect an offering that provides support for that programming and connects us through our shared values. And today we collect a second offering to benefit Just Texas, which is a project of the Texas Freedom Network. As people of faith, we support reproductive freedom and equality for LGBTQ Texans. Just Texas provides education, networking, and the prophetic voices of faith leaders like Reverend Erika. Please join me in giving, but also pledge your support for DUUF in 2022 so that we can continue to have this place that fortifies and challenges us, that comforts and pushes us. See the chat, the link tree, or the order of service for ways to give to DUUF and to our second offering recipient, Just Texas. The offering is now gratefully received.
receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live.
I cannot tell you how open my heart is to just be here with people, right? And then you add to it this beautiful sanctuary and overlooking this garden and watching the children play. It's better than a dream because it's real. And listening to the music and seeing the candles, I don't say this word much, but it feels a little magical. For all of you that are watching out there in virtual land, I want to say hi, good morning. I'm glad you're tuning in. I know there are so many places you can be virtually in this day and age, and I am glad you're here tuning in. I would love to share with you a little bit about justice. And then I want to share with you a little bit about the work that I do in the world, and perhaps just a tiny little sprinkling of my story. It is not important, but it is part of the tapestry of life. And as I have come to learn in my almost 51 years, it is instrumental in how and why I do the work I do. Perhaps that might be true for you, too. I want to start with this idea around justice, right? And that I want to begin with a big definition, not the official Webster definition, but a definition nonetheless that we're going to work with today. Justice is the right that one fights for if one seeks fairness. It is hard to think about what it means to be fair. I don't know about you, but I grew up with cousins and I had a little brother, and often, since we were raised by my grandparents, the words, "it's not fair," was something that you could hear on a daily, sometimes hourly basis. My grandparents' response was, "it doesn't have to be fair, and life isn't fair." Standard response for grandparents, and those of you who are grandparents or know grandparents know they tend to say that on a regular basis. As I grew up, I began to realize that life wasn't fair. It wasn't fair for people that were marginalized. It wasn't fair for people that weren't like the majority. It wasn't fair for me, and for many times it wasn't fair for people I love. Now, I could have easily accepted that as status quo since my grandparents said it and my grandparents' word was gospel. But I began to realize that while life wasn't fair, it didn't have to be unfair. And through circumstances that I chose and some that I fell into, I began to understand what it meant to fight for freedom and for justice and for fairness. You see, there are three principles that our justice system seeks to reflect: equality, fairness, and access. Justice has four dimensions: social justice, economic justice, political justice, and legal justice. Justice is real only when it exists in all these four dimensions. Without social and economic justice, there can be no real political or legal justice. As hard as it is for us to recognize that and realize that, when we accept it, we can do something about it, right? In order for there to be peace, it is essential for humans to know that justice is what love looks like in action. Over the course of time, justice has come to the rescue of those who have been deprived of their rights. Some may even say, and I have said it, it doesn't always come swiftly, and it doesn't always come in time. I have to tell you, that at 14 I got pregnant and chose to have an abortion. It was the best thing I ever did. At 18, I got pregnant again and had an abortion. And again, it was the best thing I ever did. It saved my life. It allowed me to have a life. Had I not had access, had I not had people who fought for me to have the opportunity and the privilege to receive those medical procedures in a safe and sane way, I would not be standing before you today. I understand now that the fact that I was able to receive those abortions impacted my life greatly. I began to understand that I was a recipient of something that would allow me to have a life that I wanted, and that there were people in the world who weren't able to receive the privilege that I had. And so I began to fight for people to have that right. At 18, when you know everything and nothing at all, you tend to be very self-righteous, and I am no exception. And I'd like to say I've matured in my age, but that wouldn't be absolutely true. But that's okay, because now I use that righteousness in a way that hopefully benefits others. I use it in my daily work. I use it in my relationships with others. When I say righteousness, I mean right thinking, right action. I work in the field of reproductive justice, and right now in this state of Texas, it is under attack. It feels personal to me, and I'm sure it feels personal to many. But the reality is that this fight for reproductive justice is really about just justice. While we have economic justice and climate justice and food justice and all the ways in which justice manifests itself individually, we're really just working for one thing: justice for all. And when I say justice for all, I do mean for all. Black women, white men, those on the margins of society, children, and a world that works for everyone. Now, there's the rub. What does it mean to have a world that works for everyone? Protests demanding the necessity of justice are very common, and people actively participate in peace in such grave but necessary protests. Justice has also been a source of inspiration for children who seek refuge in superheroes, who fight for justice and mercy. You see, life without justice is an unfair life. I want to share a few quotes around justice that encapsulate what it means. From Socrates. He sought to define justice as one of the cardinal human virtues, and he understood the virtues as states of the soul. So his account of what justice is depended upon his account of the human soul. According to the Republic, every human soul has three parts: reason, spirit, and appetite. And I am going to have to delve into a biblical reference because it fits here. The word justice means to make right. Justice is first and foremost a relational term. People living in right relationship with one another and the natural creation. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Those are King's remarks. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. No more is that proven than right here, right now. I'm going to take a sip of water. Benjamin Franklin writes, "Justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are." This is an important point, you see. It's important because oftentimes we talk about justice for those that are most affected, and that should be the central point. But the reality is all of us are affected when those that are affected the most are impacted. The work that I do now in reproductive justice, so that I want to say, the work that I do now is not for me. I've already benefited. I was able to get the abortions that I needed. I was able to go on to school. I was able to get from a place of homelessness with my daughter and find a place of safety. I was able to have a career. So this work that I do is not for me. Someone before me did the work so that I could stand here before you. Someone before me fought for my rights, and I was able to live a life of flourishing. So the work that I do now, the work that all of us do now, is not for us. The fact that we're all gathered here today is proof. The work that we do now are for the children that aren't even born yet, for our great-grandchildren, so that they are able to live in a just world. It's the long game that we're talking about right now. I want you to keep that close to your heart when it gets hard, when things get confusing, when it seems fruitless, when we lose in a courtroom or on the street. We double down on that fight because it's not about us anymore. It is about those that don't even know we're fighting for them. This is what it means when King says, actually it's Benjamin Franklin who says, "Justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are." That's what he meant by that quote. And I'd like to quote someone that is a highlight in my world. And if you don't know her name, it is important that you know her. The work of Audre Lorde, Black activist, died of breast cancer years ago, where she says, "It is not our differences that divide us. It is our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences." I often say I grew up in a world where we talked about we were this great American melting pot where all of our differences came into this big stew and we were melted down to an unrecognizable goulash, right? But true to my California roots, I actually think we're more of a tossed salad, where a chickpea gets to be a chickpea and a tomato gets to be a tomato. You would never order a salad of just lettuce. You order a salad with all of its diversity and uniqueness and beauty. And an orange gets to be an orange in that, I don't know who puts oranges in their salad, but if you do, an orange gets to be an orange. A cucumber gets to be a cucumber. Maybe I'm hungry, but the point is, our uniqueness and our differences, those are not things that we pretend to not exist. Those are things we amplify because that is what unifies, right? We have that ability. We have the ability to make a world that works for everyone. I'll end on this quote by Dr. King, as we may have all heard it before. Returning hate for hate multiplies hate, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. You see, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. We love in the light when we see and we create a world that is just and fair for everyone. Thank you.
We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves on mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, make they create peace. Justice prevailed out like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn. Where we give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, make them create peace. Where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll be a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, make them create peace. Where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come, build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand our people. Oh, come build a land, my people we seek. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, make them create peace. Where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
As we move into the rest of our day, the rest of this week, let us remember that this day and every day is a day that love has made, and in it we can find joy and we can be glad. Go in peace.
Just a reminder that after the service, we will have a presentation by Reverend Erika and a time for your questions, whether online or in the sanctuary. There'll be a brief pause so that you can grab some coffee. But now let's join together in our words to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you.